Hello there and welcome to The Big Picture. I'm Tracy Shilshi and today we're shifting the focus of the elections away from Uttar Pradesh to Manipur, going to polls in two phases on the 4th and 8th of March. We'll try to find out what's going in favor of the incumbent Chief Minister Ibobi Singh and also what are the issues this time around that could perhaps make this a less predictable election. Could the ongoing 4-month economic blockade be a deciding factor? Well, just days back, Prime Minister Modi addressed a rally in Imphal and criticized the Congress's 15-year rule and asked for just 15 months to turn around the fortunes of the state. Of course, it's easier said than done, and Manipur knows that. But is there an anti-Congress vote that the BJP can perhaps depend on this time? Helping us understand the situation better, we have in studio today Deepak Dewan, who's the editor of Northeast Sun. We also have Nitin Sethi, senior associate editor with the Business Standard, and also former Home Secretary and also former Governor of Sikkim, Balmiki Prasad Singh, with us as well in the studio. Deepak, if I could start with you and, just starting with the issues, and one of them, of course, the biggest one that at least staring in the face right now of Manipur is the economic blockade. 4 months now, it's amazing that despite the tripartite talks going on, there doesn't seem to be any solution that, anywhere near close to a solution. And, it's an unarmed civil society movement at least. But, it's been able to go on for so long. What are the factors? What is really going on there?
Well, Tracy, I don't think Mr. Ibobi Singh wants any solution from this ongoing blockade. He's using this as an election plank. He's using this by saying that UNC is the spokesperson organization of the NSC and IM, and NSC and IM is seeking portions of Manipur.
Yes.
So his plank in the
and has a peace accord with the BJP.
Yes. It's not with the BJP.
Yeah, I mean, with the government in the center. Yeah.
But a common man does not understand this in Imphal. In the valley, his slogan is, we have to save the territorial integrity of Manipur, and UNC and NSC and IM and BJP, they are together. He's giving this kind of wrong picture to the people. And he's trying to cover up all his deeds. See, the thing is, Manipur has been a failed state and he has been the chief minister of a failed state. Nobody can deny that. Even 2 days ago, when Prime Minister visited Imphal, I mean, one may say that he is a BJP Prime Minister and that's why he very clearly mentioned that this government has failed to keep all the communities together. Rather, this government is sort of dividing the communities against each other so that, they can get political mileage out of it.
Yes.
See, it's not only the Prime Minister Narendra Modi who said this. See, when Dr. Manmohan Singh was the Prime Minister, I remember in one of the DGP's conference in Delhi, he had clearly said that the divide between the valley and the hill is a matter of worry. And he has cautioned the state government even that time. And the same chief minister, Okram Ibobi Singh was the chief minister that time.
Yes.
So one should not look at it with whether BJP is saying this, but the fact is that Congress Prime Minister had also warned the state government. So this is the scenario. And BJP is giving tough time to Ibobi in the valley.
Okay.
Because the tribal seats, which are 20, which include Naga, Kuki and Hmar and other tribes, they are facing a brunt from the people already. If you recall that when the 3 bills were passed,
yes,
9 youth had died in the firing.
Yes.
Out of 9, one youth's body has been buried, and
but the remaining
8 of them, they are remaining there.
Yes.
And people can't forget that incident.
Absolutely, and this is more than a year back than the economic blockade. In fact, we're also joined on the phone line from Churchandpur in Manipur, social activist T. Romeo Hmar. Romeo, we were just talking about those 9 bodies that still remain unburied since August 2015. An issue like this in mainland India, right now would have been in the headlines. But, unfortunately, this issue is not even something that is addressed even by the big political leaders within the state itself.
Yeah, true. This is something very strange, and even the media is also not catching up somehow, because the Ibobi government somehow intervene in this. And now the election mood here in Churchanpur is very somber because the dead bodies are still there. Other years, election used to be more of a festival type. But this year, the scene is not seen here. People are still remaining very quiet, and we cannot say which party is going to win. No doubt BJP is gaining, and the anti-Congress sentiment is very much there among the people because the Congress had failed to address the issue. They have not even bothered to seriously consider talking and finding out why the dead bodies are not buried. What is the problem? Why are the parents unhappy and still decided not to bury? So here the election is, it's unlike any other election this time. So the people's voice should come out and people will think hard and come and cast their vote. So I think in the hills, this is something very, very difficult actually, even for the candidates to go out to campaign.
Yes.
It is difficult for them to enter certain localities because the people are not very much keen on this upcoming election. But this is going to decide their fate. So I think the dead bodies definitely affect the election campaign here especially in Churchanpur town where I am located right now.
Absolutely. So the mood is somber, but the hope is that everyone does go and cast their vote. Deepak, you would like to say something?
Romeo, this is Deepak Dewan here from the studio in Delhi.
Yeah.
I have a question. See, when this 3-bill incident took place, people took out anger on the Congress ministers, those who are party with Mr. Ibobi Singh. Among them was Phongja Ton Singh, who just, I think, 10 days back quit Congress and has joined NPP.
Yes.
But do you think that people would forgive him or forget that incident and still vote for him?
That would be hard to say. Phongja Singh had been elected for so long, so he must be having his own vote bank. But now, whether he changed party, the mood of Churchanpur district, at least in this 6th constituency, is that they don't want the old ones. They want a new one. They want a new face. They want change. So this is still the mood. So it won't be easy for Phongja Singh to win the constituency, even though he changed his party. So that is the same.
Absolutely. In fact, the bigger question is why did he do it just now, just before the elections?
Yes.
If at all there was a change of heart, it should have happened then itself. Nitin, you of course have even gone to the area. You go regularly to Manipur. What is the sense that you got this time around? Is there a sense of frustration, a sense of anxiety among people that perhaps this is the election that could turn things around? We don't know whether it's going to be for the BJP. We're not saying that. But is there a sense that something has to be done this time around?
I think we must remember, while everyone believes this is a state where things could suddenly change because there's been an incumbency which is so long, we must always remember that in states like Manipur, elections are in a sense a facade to a structural anarchy, which all institutions like to perpetuate.
Yes.
So I wouldn't take out Mr. Ibobi Singh and say that he's been exceptional in doing it as less or more than anyone else. I wouldn't say that the centre's played less devious a game in its intervention in Manipur. But the deviousness at both levels in ensuring that a certain ethnical divide continues works to all political parties' favour. Therefore, the question of saying, does it matter if one candidate shifts from one party to the other? Really, in Northeast, a lot of states, those things don't count. I mean, we've seen the experience in Arunachal itself.
Yes.
Flipping parties is really not a big deal, simply because the politics is run on a different platform. So what we would call is corruption and violence is part, unfortunately, of the Manipur state performance.
Yes.
It's not something that others do, it's how the state operates. So having a structural level of violence, having a certain degree of antagonism, having a certain ethnic divide which is perpetuated is part of the system. The elections do not alter that. So even if tomorrow, I think, as he was referring to, if BJP came in and as the Prime Minister tends to exaggerate and promise and it will happen in 15 months, there will be a revolution. I don't see where that comes from, because those basic structural equations of saying you'll turn issues of conflict based on resources into issues of ethnicity will not alter. Those relationships of saying the valley is congested, how do you decongest it, how do you create jobs for a large number of youth? And if you see the youth today in Imphal Valley, a large number of kids don't know what else to do. So they'll come out, and I mean, I get appalled when I hear my nieces and nephews there come out and say, let's go and watch curfew. it's become the nature of state there.
Yes, yes.
And so I don't think whether Mr. Ibobi Singh goes away or not after 15 years, there is a large desire in people that he does. But I don't think that translates into any difference in Manipur per se. And that I think is more scary than what happens to the elections in few days' time.
All right, Mr. Prasad, you know, the 7 districts, the formation of it, the crux, the reason why, of course, the economic blockade is on, a lot of people thought that that might go against, you know, against the CM. But it seems like it's being pointed out that including the economic blockade, nothing seems to have really hampered you know, his chances to perhaps gain power, you know, retain power in the state. You know, what really is the problem? I mean, what is it that, you know, the other parties are not being able to do that, you know, perhaps the Congress there or the Chief Minister there is being able to do?
I must tell you that there are 3 things which are very important today. The first thing that we have to think as persons who watch the scene in the northeast and are concerned about the development profile of Manipur to get accelerated is that in next 8 days peace is maintained in Manipur so that elections are held peacefully on 4th and 8th with full participation of the people. Amidst all these odds which have been mentioned by my colleagues here, I am hopeful that elections will go peacefully. Now, I am not concerned about which party will win, which party will lose. I must tell you that long back, say 2-3 decades back, there was a similar situation in Tripura. Of course, Tripura is different.
Yes.
And Tripura today is the most peaceful state and most progressive state, corruption-free state. We have to realize, the people of Manipur have to realize, the political processes have to help in that generation of that feeling, that geography has made the people of the hills, the tribes, and the people of the plains, the Meiteis, together. And if the personality of the state, you know, the creation of the state, districts that you mentioned,
Yes.
paved the way for disunity. And I still don't understand, except it is mere politics, that why should it be done on the eve of the elections? It should have been done 4 years ago, 10 years ago. But if you do that, you have calculated politically that there will be a counter reaction. And that counter reaction took place. The United Naga Council decided to do the economic blockade. And then the old ethnic disharmony story gets currency. We have to see that both the people of the hills and the people of the plains, the Manipur Valley, their youth, which has been mentioned just now, they have to have opportunities within Manipur and they have to have opportunities outside Manipur. And one good thing is there that the Manipuri boys and girls have that talent, which we have seen in some have bloomed, but in vast majority it is still dormant. The skill development,
Yes.
the personality to acquire newer skills, and this will come. So therefore, I am hopeful, although, that a more compassionate, a more pro-people leadership will emerge after this election. And the character of the state will change towards the better, because there is a bigger challenge facing other parts of India.
Yes, that is of course the hope, but is there an option like that at the moment, Deepak? Is there an option on that
I
side?
see the biggest problem, whosoever comes, whether Mr. Ibobi comes or somebody else comes, the major issue still will remain is how to bridge the gap between the valley and the hill people.
Yes.
See, the thing is, like Mr. Ibobi brought 3 bills, he brought these 7 districts, which, see, if you recall, the 3 bills brought Kukis, Nagas together
Yes.
as one tribal organ, they became one people.
One body. Yeah.
One body. Mr. Ibobi has been able to divide that, break that body
By creating
these 7 districts. You know, he had been promising Sadar Hill district to the Kukis, which never happened. It happened only during the election time. He would promise and then forget about it. And this time, of course, Kukis are happy because in the Kampopi
Yes.
district, it gives them the majority. But Nagas are opposing it. They are saying we were not consulted. See, the thing is, for blockade, if Mr. Ibobi has been blaming the center.
Yes.
When it's a law and order situation, he would agree with me because it's a state subject. A home ministry or the center can give assistance to the state whenever they ask for, whether they want additional forces or something which are provided. Here, till 3rd of February, Manipur government was having tripartite talks with the UNC. They proposed on 7th again, let's have another round of this thing.
Yes.
And after 2 days, the Chief Minister writes a letter to the Prime Minister saying declare UNC outlaw. Who do you blame for this breakup?
Yes.
The state government or the center? Because Mr. Ibobi Singh is using this now for election purposes. This is the only plank he is left with. There's no other achievement. There's nothing to which he can claim.
Yes.
Yes, Mr. Ibobi has been successful. He is the only Chief Minister of Manipur who has completed full 5 years term, not 1, 3 terms.
3 times. Yeah.
That is the only achievement he can claim. But apart from that, see, the thing is, hill and valley divide
Yes.
has reached a point where unless you have a political will, you cannot bring people together.
Absolutely.
That is the biggest task.
The hills, like Romeo of course pointed to, the hills of course they just have 20 out of the 60 seats. That's the only power that it has. But it's the hill people which are strangling the valley at the moment, in the form of the economic blockade. So, is it the Meiteis who are going to be the factor that if at all anything has to change, it has to be the Meiteis who have to change their vote? Is that, where perhaps, a change for Manipur would lie, Nitin?
In terms of numbers, yes. I mean, naturally, that's how the
Yes.
seat division is. It lies in that. But again, I'd go back to, and if I can also speak about something Mr. Singh was saying, Tripura is the worst way to go for Manipur. If you remember how Tripura reached its point of peace, it came by a complete demographic change in the state society. That's not, hopefully, we are not living in that world where that can happen quietly without people talking about it. Hopefully, we are not going down that line. Manipur has its problems. There are political aspirations that range all the way from sovereignty to other demands. Your economic situations can temper that. What's the best the government can do is really hope and say that we can temper these political aspirations of people and not play blind to them. The fact that they exist, the point that you've created an ethnic divide which will play on these political divisions now does exist. If the state can engage with it and not engage with it the way the central government has done at the moment by saying we have supposedly an accord that nobody knows about.
Yes.
In an area where there is already so much disagreement amongst people, so much fear about each other's roles, spaces, etc., for a central government to come in and then create extra lack of transparency only adds to the conundrum. So again, I'd go back to saying it's not as if Mr. Ibobi Singh has no great role to play in creating peace in the state, it's not as if centers played any human role in the last year and a half. In fact, it's always been true that the northeast states, just like Kashmir, test the ability of the center to play this role, as it's called federal cooperatism. That's where the central government's this notion is tested the most, because that's where the differences are the highest. It's easy to say how you'll deal with UP and Rajasthan and Bihar, because roughly you know that you're familiar with the politics here.
Yes.
But there where the demands are really extreme, how do you engage with them? And if you look at how the central government is engaged either in Manipur or in Nagaland or with Manipur, we realize that the centers as badly failed as the system itself over there does. And frankly, again, I go back to saying this and I sound like I'm beating the same drum again and again. The fact is, none of these parties gain from actually resolving the issue. The fact is, while we can claim that the centre has no role to play because it's the state's subject, we know intelligence agencies in Manipur play a central role in how the governance system runs there. We know centre's intervention in northeast states, because they're border states and for other reasons, is very high. It's silly for us to claim that the centre couldn't have done more. But did the centre need to do more for its own political requirements is the question we should ask.
Absolutely. Romeo, if you're still with us, we are talking about how the hill districts, the votes really, we do hope they come out in full numbers to vote, but then eventually at the end of the day, those 20 seats are really nothing, when you look at the larger picture. Is that the sense of frustration that you also feel, considering the fact that anyway you have your issues, which, the main, neither the state government nor the centre does agree on, and even when you do have the votes, it really doesn't translate when it comes to the formation of a new government?
In this, I think it is, as I said, it wouldn't be like other the past elections. Somehow, I think this time, if the Hill people comes out and vote for the right person, definitely they would be very important in the formation of government in the state. Because the recent Panchayat poll, if you see, the Congress and BJP has somehow come out kind of 50-50. So in the valley, out of the 40, nobody, I don't believe any party will have that absolute majority. So the candidates in the Hill area would be very important, very crucial for any party to form any government. That is how I see.
All right. And what parties could that be, Deepak? I see you nodding your head. The BJP, of course, has been comparatively paying a little more attention ever since Assam as well too. We've seen much more bigger rallies definitely from the BJP in the state compared to a low profile, low campaign that of course Ibobi has hardly been doing much campaigning around, especially even the Congress leaders for that matter. Does that make a difference? Will that translate to some votes at least? We do know they've slowly made their way into the municipal polls.
Well, see, if you look at Manipur's tribal areas, see, of course, Congress is there. Congress is getting challenged from NPP, which is Conrad Sangma's party. Although it has some of those ministers, one main minister who quit Congress and joined them. But otherwise, in Kuki areas, they have a better chance. And in that's say about 7 to 8 seats.
NPF?
NPF.
Yeah.
And incidentally, NPF and NPP both are ally of NDA. So it all depends in the valley how BJP scores. And as Romeo said, he's absolutely right. The parties in the hills will play a major role in the formation of the government.
All right. Are you hopeful of that too, Nitin? Do you think this time there may be a little bit of a change in the numbers?
Space for people in the hills in this politics? Perhaps yes. I mean, there is a great incumbency of last 15 years which people will vote against. And again, as all of us, while we desire the best, we vote for what's available before us, as miserable as it might be at times.
Absolutely.
I expect the Meiteis, who are in a huge majority, to rise above some of these things and then think of a strengthening to the reshaping of Manipur's personality. And towards that, I agree with you that I don't want Tripura methods to be applied. Manipur must devise its own methods to have that personality. But objective has to be peace and development. And elections are the occasions to re-establish that. I know all these things which are prevalent just now are divisive in nature. But people have to answer. They must throw up compassionate leaders. They must not get trapped either by the machinations of one party or the other. Of course, they will play that role. And the centre can play a positive role in making it very clear, not only in Imphal, but also in Kohima, that the territorial integrity of these states is not the issue. They will remain. And I have advocated both in writing and also informally and formally.
Well, that's what we do get in speeches,
No,
though
but
in writing
no,
we still
no,
don't know what is the...
I'm
Yes.
reiterating
Yes.
that. With great difficulty, northeastern states were reorganized in 1971-72. And I would like, at least for 100 years, there should be no talk of reorganization,
All right.
territorial
All right.
reorganization.
I'm running short of time,
I
so
hope
Nitin, you'd like to
they
make a
say
point.
that.
Yes, yes.
I just wanted to say, the most important time, sometimes I think the most important part of elections for people there is actually getting some healthcare done through the candidates, getting some jobs hopefully, because the
Yes.
next 5 years even that doesn't happen. So in a state which is built on institutional anarchy,
Yes.
I think the most hope people have out of this is get some of their medical bills paid, and I
Yeah.
think that's also great.
Get your salaries on time.
Yes.
Those are
For a
things
change.
that are important.
Yes.
I can say for myself, being from Manipur, I left in 1993 because there were not enough educational facilities there. And I can say for even now, there's still that problem.
Roughly on the same pace.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So, well, we do hope for the best. We do hope that the state does find a better answer this time around. We'll continue tracking, of course, all developments from Manipur and the remaining other states as well where elections are on. But that's it right now on the big picture. Thank you so much to all of you for joining me. And thank you, Romeo, for joining me as well from Manipur. Thank you.